Okay, students, so I just finished watching The Hare and the Tortoise by Aesop's Fable. So in the story title, I'm going to write The Hare and the Tortoise. And then it's called Aesop's Fable, but I need to make sure that it's a fable. So I'm going to say maybe it's a fable because it's called Aesop's Fables, which is a big clue. But then it says, how do I know? How do I know that it's a fable? So I gave you a clue sheet or a cheat sheet that kind of breaks down. So if I were to look here, and I've got folk tales, fairy tales, fables, myths, legends, tall tales, and I can kind of see based off of this chart. You're probably saying, how do I use this chart, Miss Pearl? Okay, so the characters in here are what? A hare and a tortoise. Those are animals. So that can be a fairy tale. It can be a fable. Myth doesn't say animals, so that's out. It could be a legend because this is animals often as the main character, or a tall tale. So let's use process of elimination to see. Okay, so it says the setting can be in a castle or a forest. Well, that looks like a forest to me. Outside somewhere. Okay, nothing specific. We already said that one's out. Nothing specific. Linked to real. Okay, so problem is good versus evil. I don't think that it was good versus evil because they're just, characters going through their life. Only one problem, using trickery, so that's definitely something. Explains how something in nature came to be. This actually did not explain anything on nature, how something came to be, so now we can take legends out. Myths is out. It's between fables and, let's see, problems solved in a humorous way. Nothing was funny in the story. So I'm kind of between fairy tales and fables. But let's see. Okay, let's keep going. The solution was magic, or ends with a lesson or a moral. And then I gave oh my goodness, I gave an example, Hare and the Tortoise, and that's exactly what this is. I gave it up. I gave the answer right to you. Okay, so we're going to say that this is a fable. And easy way is this, Aesop's Fables. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote in the story title and the fable, and then it says, how do you know? So I'm going to go back to that page and write down some things that I know from the cheat sheet. So I can just look here, fables. So I can say, well, the characters were animals. The setting was outside someplace. They only had one problem. The solution ended with the moral of the story. And that's my answer. That's how I know that it's a fable. All right, so I filled it in. I said it's very short. It had two animals. The setting was outside. Now, I had originally wrote it was outside, but I said, let me use some scholarly academic language. And I knew it said setting on here, so I wanted to use my academic vocabularies. So I put setting. Setting was outside, and it ends with a moral. Okay, so the character part is pretty easy. It's hare and tortoise. And then it says the problem. Well, guess what? They've got closed caption on there, that CC button at the bottom, which puts everything in writing. So I can pause it. And so when I went back to review the story at about a minute and a half in, I figured out what the problem was. The problem is that the hare is being mean to tortoise, teasing him, telling him he's slow. And so they decided to have a competition to find out if he's really slow. So challenge him to a race to teach him a lesson. That is actually the solution. So the problem is that hare was teasing tortoise about being slow, and the solution is that they're going to have a race to figure out if that's true. Okay, last part it says, does the story teach a lesson? Well, right there at the end at about a minute and a half in. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. So a minute and 30 seconds in, it says the hare learned his lesson. And so right here it says, does the story teach a lesson? So I'm just going to write yes. And was it a lesson, a moral, a central message? It was a lesson. And then I can write the lesson in here. Okay, again, it shows the lesson right there. Never make fun of anyone's weakness. And so that's exactly what I wrote. The lesson was never make fun of anyone's least weakness. How do I know that that was the moral? Well, it's not the moral, but the moral and the lesson are pretty similar. So we could say, because it was very clear that, so how do I know what the moral was? And I put here, because the narrator said Hare learned his lesson. So Hare learned his lesson, and they spelled hair wrong because it's not hair like on your head. It's hair like a rabbit, which is Hare. Okay, and then I'm done with this first page.